Check 1, 2. Siblings.
Siblings.
1, 2,
Radio
3,
guy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Cool. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Within the course of human events. Okay.
I'm rolling, so yeah, Thomas, if you want to...
Go ahead, you guys just want to start and introduce yourselves. And
Okay. Hi, I'm Mark Jacoby, and this is Christine Canali, and we're married. And we moved to the Baca in about 1988, and so we've been here almost 29 years. When we got here, well, I've been asked to tell how we came to come here, but we were living in a crack neighborhood in New York City, and I'd grown up with a lot of camping in my background, and there came a point where I was just citied out, and a friend of mine I was working with told me about the Baca Grande out of New York, and so on a whim, on a Memorial Day weekend, no, it was a Labor Day weekend, I jumped on a plane, rented a car, came down here, found a real estate guy, said show me something high with a big rock on it. He brought me up here. Chris was back in New York at the time, and I looked around. I said, "I'll take it." And I tried to put down around, it was $8,900 or $8,950, and I tried to put about $6,000 down on it at the time. And the guy said, "No, we've got a deal for you. We set up a number of lots throughout the Baca where you pay 1% of the cost each month for as long as that takes." So we were paying $89.50 a month each month for this, and it was interest free. And in 8 years we paid it off. And the guy said, "Keep your money. You're going to need it to build," which is a significant point. And so we did. We kept the money and we started putting it in here, and it was a real sweat equity.
Tom and Margaret Matarokia.
Yeah.
And they purposefully thought about that because they wanted young people to move here.
Right.
And they knew that most people, unless you come from inherited wealth, don't have a lot of resources. So they, understood that, if they wanted to get people to come here, they were going to have to find ways to make it easier for young people to come here.
The brain being programmed or wired, programmed to conflict. It is caught in that pattern. You can see it for oneself. And we are asking if that pattern can be broken immediately, not gradually. Either you think to break it through drugs, through alcohol, through sex, through different forms of discipline, through different forms of handing oneself over to something. Man has tried 1,000 different ways to escape from this terror of conflict. Right? And we are asking, is it possible for a brain so conditioned to break that conditioning immediately? Right? This is maybe a theoretical, non-actual question. Which that's impossible. It's just a theory. It's just a wish, a desire to be free of this. But if you examine the thing rationally, logically, which is part of our intelligence, time will not solve this condition, right? That's the first thing to realize. Not tomorrow. There is no psychological tomorrow. I won't go into that for the moment. I'm just saying that implies time. If one sees actually, not verbally, deeply in one's heart, in one's mind, in one's very, very depth of one's being, time will not solve this problem. That means you have already broken the pattern, beginning to see the cracks in the pattern, because we have accepted time, right, as a means of unraveling, breaking up this programmed brain. So when you observe clearly that time under no circumstance will solve it, will free the brain from time.
What's that? So I'll let you make it. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can actually go. This is all the Dharma Ocean compost from 2 weeks of Dharma Ocean. We let the chickens go for it, and then after the chickens go through it, then we mix it in, and in the end it looks like this. It's a great way to build soil, and we do cover it from time to time to keep the sun from bleaching out all the nutrients and goodies. But yeah, they go nuts over here. And they're basically ready to come out. So this is kind of like feeding the fish. Hey everybody, so I'm Nathan Good. Came here as a youth in 1980 for 2 weeks and I was horribly bored, but kept coming back. 86, explored it. I wanted to be between Valley View and Crestone, but couldn't afford it. So after exploring all the land options, I was told, everybody's like, go to Crestone and buy a lot in the Baca. And so in 95 I did, and it's been really cool. So the reason I wanted to get up here was I was from a commune near Austin, Texas, and really cool land-based permaculture, sustainable commune. That the human factor was the problem. So I was like, I came up here, and I'd been here already before, but I was raising a family. So I actually left the commune to come here to find a more human-oriented, nature-connected community. More so than the commune that I came from, which was more of a hippie commune. So I came here with the intention of learning from the spiritual centers. Was a Taoist practitioner at that time, and a little bit of Sufism, but I went to the Zen Center, got to meet all these fabulous people, and one of the things that struck me the most was the monks playing in the Baca Park. The connecting of all the spiritual traditions together, and when I went to visit them, they're all growing food and stuff. So I was in alignment, because for me, the reason I came here was to get away from the city, move to the country, and actually grow my own food, and maybe park the truck by 1997.
My name's Rita, and this is my Earth ship that I'm working on with my boyfriend Garrett, and I are working along in the wonderful Crestone in the sun. And I decided to build this place because I was tired of paying rent and living in the city and just being a slave to society. And I wanted to use all of Earth's phenomena and be friends with the Earth and build a place where I have harmony within my living structure. So I loved Earth ships. I studied them for a little bit, and then I went to the internship for a month last year in April, and I went land hunting, and Crestone spoke to me a lot because there's no building codes out here, and I still want to be in Colorado, and I just love the San Luis Valley, and so I decided to build here in Crestone with the community and with other sustainable folks. It's a mix from earth ships to other hybrid homes that work off of Earth's phenomena. So, yeah, and I'm really excited because it's an investment into my future, and it's all about the future and how we can take care of ourselves and become sustainable and quit trying to save the planet but not save ourselves. So I kind of think that the philosophy of life is the Earth is trying to teach us to save ourselves and to become sustainable, and then the planet will be happy. So if everybody could just focus on that and try to start using what is given to us and become friends with the sun and the moon and all the things that give us life. So.
Well, here's the question that I would pose, and this is the question that I've posed a couple of times. If you didn't have a mortgage, and you didn't have a car payment, and you didn't have a credit card payment because you had a bunch of things that you had to have that you really didn't need at the moment and were better had a different way, if you just eliminated those, what does that do to your monthly finances? Just wipe them out, just don't have them. Then what? And it's a big question when people are looking at their housing costs being $2,500, $3,000 a month, when they're looking at a $4,500 monthly necessity to just keep life rolling the way that it is. And you get caught into a cycle where it consumes all of your money until you can make that final step where you're like, okay, I'm out. And now once you get out, you've got to be able to get stable for a minute so that you can allow the income stream that you've been just watching flow by and start to capture some of it for a little while. And so that you can get a little bit of it so that you can then make yourself warm and dry. Because then once you get warm and dry, you can start looking at the next phase. And as it develops, and suddenly there isn't an alarm clock going off in the morning. And there's not someone pressuring you to be somewhere you really don't want to be. And saying things to people that you don't want to be saying. You know, suddenly you're able to start centering in yourself and experiencing what we're supposed to be here doing, because there's abundance everywhere. We're being masked by this unreasonable reality that we're in a state of what's the word? Right? We're in a total state of where there's no abundance, and it's not true. We're throwing away huge quantities of food right next door to a kid that's starving, right next to a veteran. Whether he wants a job or not, who cares?
We've lost track of that connection and who we are.
Right, our humanity.
Who are we?
Right, we've decided that you're not doing enough to get our excess. We'd rather throw it away. Are you serious? Really?
Well, my name is Sookie Abbott, and I came to Crestone, Colorado. It'll be 20 years this June. So 2 decades of living in this beautiful mountain range. I came here, I was invited here actually. I knew nothing about Crestone. by a friend, and he invited my son and I to come out and check it out because I was in Taos, New Mexico. And I was actually looking to live in the Earthship community down near Taos, New Mexico at the time, but they were in litigation in 1997. So I ended up coming here and finding a small community of, maybe 300 people at the time. In 1997, around that amount of people I think lived here in the Baca and in town. And so it was a very tiny town, full with alternative people and like-minded people. I thought, I was very much into raising my son in nature, also learning more about gardening, and and having the ability to build a sustainable community with other friends and people that were doing the same thing at the time. So a lot of the people I met here first were people doing that. They were homesteaders, they were camping, they were literally living in tents throughout the winter in the mountains here. And I found that actually very appealing to myself and my child, because he could grow up in a place where he could run around and be a child.
I fell in love with the valley the minute I moved here, and I just love the quiet beauty and the beauty and the serenity. And I moved here first and started my dream, and when I met Chi-Chi, I pretty much included her with my property. And we both moved down here several years later. We didn't move here right away. Basically, I moved the house in here, and then I started remodeling every summer. And I didn't connect too much with the community. I'm kind of a hermit in a way. This is kind of like our little compound, our little estate. And so it was just beautiful being here. And I did meet a lot of really beautiful people here. And a lot of them have already moved away because, people come and go in this community. And so it's been wonderful.
Well, it's also, when we moved here, we couldn't see any homes.
Yeah, there was not
nothing.
a single house in the Grants. Just one across the field, the Davis. They were the first house here, and we were the second. And we would camp here for a couple of years just to get a bearing on where the house was going to sit, where the living room was going to face, which way the kitchen is going to be. And, we did that for a couple of years before we even decided to, when we rolled our house in. Yeah.
But also, when people started moving in, we found that they would come and help us, and we'd go and help them.
My name's Joy. I came to Crestone going on 13 years ago now to visit somebody, and I made the decision to move here right in the first 24 hours. And a big part of it was that I was brought out here into the Baca at night, and it happened to be a very clear night on a new moon. So the sky was very black, And the Milky Way was up there just across the sky like I hadn't seen it since I was 10 years old, and I just fell over in the grass giggling. And that was the end of my first 24 hours here, and I made the decision right then that this is where I needed to be.
It is time for us to evolve as a species together in a peaceful, cohesive manner. I do not support and condone the perpetuated violence amongst all of our people by people who can't learn how to do it a better way. It is time for us to protect our right to create solutions as a species so that we can enjoy our planet together and watch our children play together happy and content in a healthy environment because we took the time to create it. Peace.
It's true. It's true. The Crown has made it clear. The climate must be perfect all the year. A law was made a distant moon ago here. July and August cannot be too hot. And there's a legal limit to the snow here in Camelot. The winter is forbidden till December and exits March the 2nd on the dot. By order, summer lingers through September in Camelot. Camelot, Camelot, I know it sounds a bit bizarre, but in Camelot, Camelot, that's how conditions are. The rain may never fall till after sundown. By 8 the morning fog must disappear. In short, there's simply not a more congenial spot for happily ever aftering than here in Camelot. Camelot, Camelot, I know it gives a person pause, but in Camelot, Camelot, those are the legal laws. The snow may never slush upon the hillside. By 9 p.m. the moonlight must appear. In short, there's simply not a more congenial spot for happily ever aftering than here in Camelot.